Well, thanks for joining us for another WinStar Roundtable, this focus on Cogburn. And I'm pleased to be joined by Elliot Walden from WinStar Farm and Mark Taylor from TaylorMade. You guys have had a long-standing relationship talking about stallions. We're going to talk about Cogburn being a son of Not This Time, who you're obviously very familiar with. But the relationship between WinStar and TaylorMade goes back many, many years. 'Tis now Spitestown. Elliot, talk about the impetus for this relationship and the success that you guys have had over the years.
Well, great to be here a year later after we did our first one, Jesse, with two Phils, and to have Mark here is really special because our relationship has been strong, really from the start of WinStar.
We're aligned on so many things, and then they've got a really world-class stallion roster, and we've got a lot of mares to book, so it really, it just syncs up.
Well, let's jump into that. So we've got a son here of Not This Time, and Mark, this is a horse that Not This Time started out not a Grade 1 winner. I mean, you guys kind of took a shot on this horse with TaylorMade. What led you to standing a horse like Not This Time at TaylorMade?
Well, I'll make this concise, but we raised him on the farm, so we were very aware of him. Quick story: we convinced the Albas to sell Liam's map because we're a selling agency. That's what we do. They were a little unsure about it, but they sold him, and he turned into a Breeders' Cup winner. And then when Not This Time,
you couldn't do it the second time.
Well, that's how the name came about. Of course, Frank put the heavy pitch on. This could be the most expensive horse we got on the farm, and they were like, "Not this time." So
I love it.
That's how he got the name. But we followed him closely, and I think it was really just very fortunate for us that he did not win that Breeders' Cup over Classic Empire because we would have never gotten him. But his career was cut short, and we were the beneficiaries, and the Albas have been longstanding customers. So anyway, but his pedigree's unbelievable. His looks are unbelievable, and he had a lot of talent that was never shown, but he's passing it on to this offspring, and Cogburn's, there's no better example of it than him.
What has he done for the farm?
He's made a huge difference. When you have a horse like that, it looks, your sales raise, the momentum on the farm, the morale of everyone. It's just a blessing.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
I'd love to think we were smart enough to know that Not This Time was going to go from, where he was when we decided to stay in Cogburn to where he is today. But it's like that old adage says, all high tide raises all boats, and we're sure happy to have Cogburn, the fastest son of Not This Time, standing at stud.
Absolutely. And then Cogburn, his breeze, at OBS was fantastic.
Phenomenal.
Like, this horse was on our radar screen like, man, I don't know where that one went. Where is he? What's he doing? Because, everybody had told us, that horse is a freak.
I mean, Steve said it best about Cogburn. He said he ran 5.5 furlongs in a 5/8 fast time. To run 59 and change, 5.5 furlongs, it's incredible. And to be the highest buyer number for any Not This Time at 114, higher than Epicenter, higher than any other one. I mean, it's just incredible to be blessed with him. And we can't wait to see his babies come this year, and we can't wait to see what the future holds with him.
This horse was a fast 2-year-old. I think he's going to get 2-year-olds. And so he would be, if I was a stockbroker, this is like a buy.
Why wouldn't he? He ran 20 and 3 at OBS.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and you guys talk about that second crop aspect. That's what produced this horse. He was in year 2 of Not This Time, and it literally produced the world's fastest racehorse.
Right.
Why wouldn't you take a chance on a horse?
And he sold exceptionally well.
Yes.
When we look at success that we've had together with Spitestown, one of his key ingredients was his versatility. He got horses on the dirt. He got them on the turf. He got them long. He got them short.
Could run on synthetic.
They could run on anything. And that gives you such a greater opportunity for impact because you're not pigeonholed to one thing.
That versatility, that's kind of the modern thoroughbred is you need to, and I think we're seeing more interchange between Europe and America and, obviously Japan going back and forth. They're going to look at these sons of Not This Time over here.
I think that speaks to the versatility not only of Cogburn, but also Not This Time. So, Mark, thank you so much for your time. Elliot, thank you as well. And very, very excited about Cogburn here coming back for season number 2 as we continue on the WinStar Roundtable. Back on the WinStar Roundtable with Elliot Walden, and we're pleased to be joined via Zoom by Bill Heiligbrodt, who was part of the team that campaigned at Cogburn. And Bill, one of the things I wanted to touch upon, you had a great quote from a few years ago that you like to take chances on fast horses. You've had a lot of success with fast horses in the past, but he's certainly on paper the fastest. But where does he rank for you on the number of top horses that you've had in your career?
Well, I mean, he has to rate right up at the top. I love having him. I tried to buy him as as a yearling, and I sought him out. I thought I could. Well, here's a horse I can buy cheap, and lo and behold, Three Amigos buys him for 310,000. I think that's Baffert.
So you saw him, Bill. You saw him as a yearling as well.
Yes, I did. Stuart Marsh is a good friend of mine. He sold him at Fassick Tipton. In some way, he got turned back over an eye condition, and Joe Pickerel bought him, and I started looking at him again. And he worked the fastest time at OBS. I can't remember whether it was March
20
or
and
April.
3. 20 and
20
3.
and 3.
Yeah.
And nobody was interested in him. And I said, my goodness, here's a chance to buy a horse with unprecedented speed. That was the beginning of a really interesting career on a horse that is extremely special. It's the only horse of all the stallions that I've had, and really good ones that I've stayed in like this, involved. I could have stayed in on the other stallions that I've had. I didn't. Uh, the reason I stayed in on Cogburn was because I thought he was such a special horse, and I felt that that horse would be a success and maybe a retirement program for my children. Okay, if you want to look at it that way. But he looks fast. He's a perfect gentleman, and I can't wait to see his babies this January when they start arriving.
You know, this game is changing. Turf racing is something that, like Bill, we have had built our success at WinStar on the dirt primarily, and we have to adapt or you die. And so, you know, this was a horse that we saw that was extremely fast, had a niche that people are starting to identify with in this country. It's starting to bring the game together from a global perspective with Europe and Australia and America all wanting 5.5 furlong horses. The Breeders' Cup added the races a few years ago. So that was one reason that it attracted us to Cogburn, was that he was, as Bill said, special in his category. And as we look at the next 2, 3, 5, 10 years of this business and of horse racing in general, turf racing is not going anywhere. It's going to continue to grow. Yeah.
No matter what anybody says, I do think people like fast horses. So, and they like to see fast horses. So I'm just hoping, and I know what his babies are going to look like. And believe me, one day you'll see in some furlong, 4.5 furlong race at Keeneland, you'll see one of these Cogburns come flying down there with the orange and white on it.
Well, we need to get you up here to the snow up here in January to start seeing these foals, Bill. So get you out of North Texas. Well, thank you for being with us.
Bill, thank you so much, Elliot. Thank you,
and thank you for everything, Elliot.
Yeah, Bill, your 4-decade affinity for speed has paid off here with the fastest horse in the world in Cogburn. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Elliot, as well. We'll be back with more on the WinStar Roundtable with Cogburn after this. Back on the WinStar Roundtable with Elliot Walden, and we are pleased to be joined via Zoom by Tori Gladwell. You might know her best from Top Line Sales. We're going to talk to Tori about her success at 2-year-old sales, but also she's got a growing breeding program. And Tori, you actually were very supportive of Cogburn in that first season. Talk about the mares you selected to go to and the process of breeding to Cogburn there in the first year.
Yeah, we were very familiar with Cogburn from the yearling sale. I think we actually vetted him at the yearling sales when Stuart had him. And then he went to our good buddy Joe Pickerel at Pickview, and that's who trained him and sold him as a 2-year-old. So we kind of followed that horse through his sale year, and he's just a beautiful specimen. Cogburn went 20 and 3. I mean, his gallop out was flawless, beautiful horse. He did really well at the sale. I remember seeing him in the back ring before he walked into the sales pavilion, and everybody was just staring at him because he was so pretty. A lot of our mares are actually mares that we have sold or trained or knew of. that are really pretty quick early mares. And then when we're picking stallions to cross with them, we're looking for those speedy types like Cogburn. He crossed really good with a bunch of my mares. I ended up picking through my larger mares to go to him. So hopefully we get a good cross between the Cogburn and my bigger, stretchier, scopier mares.
And Tori, with that first season success, he was a very popular horse in year one. Do you have any plans to come back here for the second season for Cogburn?
Yeah, I got a couple mares handicapped for him that I think will work well. I can't wait to see these first foals, especially by him. One mare in particular that I have, she's my favorite mare. I actually sent her to Cogburn, so I'm really excited about that foal.
Yeah, a lot of excitement here with the first year. Tori Gladwell, thank you so much for your time, and Elliot, you as well. A lot to look forward to and a lot of excitement surrounding the world's fastest racehorse, Cogburn, for the 2026 breeding season at WinStar Farm.
Thanks, guys.
Well, just in closing, Elliot, another great roundtable discussion here that we've come to expect from WinStar Farm, and I think we've talked to a number of different folks that show just how important Cogburn is. You guys have been incredibly transparent through the whole process of him going to Australia, coming back. You've spared no expense, left no stone unturned to make sure that he's ready to go for 2026, and just how important he is for the farm.
Oh, he's super important. I mean, to be a son of Not This Time who is taking himself to another stratosphere. He's a great opportunity for us and for breeders. And this has been a great opportunity to get to talk about things that we normally don't talk about, and to hear Bill Heilig-Bros and why he picked him out at the 2-year-old sale. Tori obviously is becoming a great breeder, her and Jimmy down in Florida, and looking for speed. So Cogburn is a horse that we are extremely excited to see his foals come in January, and can't wait.
No doubt about it, and we're going to wrap up this discussion on Cogburn. You saw just from many of the top names involved in the game and how excited they are about Cogburn. No reason to not be excited about him in 2026. Dream big with WinStar Farm and with Cogburn. Thanks so much for joining us on the WinStar Roundtable.